Okay, so let me now just create a boss system. So I'll go into inside edit, Shmup boss agents, and create boss template. Again, I'll move it inside the prefabs editing. And to make it really simple, I'm just going to make the visuals spheres. Okay, so now the default one I've created is a waypoint mover. So I'm just going to add 2 points. For example, that the boss is spawned and it moves around the center and stops. Just a simple movement. And you can apply any type of enemy mover to the boss and put it inside a wave. Let me put it inside a wave. I'm going to, since this is a waypoint mover, I'll need a waypoint wave. Waves, waypoint wave. I'm going to call it waypoint boss. And spawn one enemy. And I'll make a prefab out of the boss. Now it's empty. So this way, and I'll give it an index of 40. This way now, the finite spawner will first spawn this waypoint boss wave, which contains the boss prefab. Let me add some phases and explain a little bit on how it works. Now the boss script in itself is not an agent or anything. It's just a container for a special enemy class called boss subphases. You don't need to bother to remember how it works. You can always see some of the ones in the demo. We'll just examine now, and you just see how it works now. So this is the first phase, and this is a subphase inside the first phase. Let me just, I'll add some objects here and you'll get to understand it more. And let me move it out of the way. So this is the first phase, and let's give this one some color. So I'm going to create a few materials. And let's make the first phase to have a red color. And so this is the first boss subphase. One very important thing to always remember that you will need to connect this boss, the main one, with its subphase. So I'll go over here. You'll see there this boss phase. I'll connect it. If you don't connect it, it's not going to work. And I'll add a weapon later on. Let's just make a few more subphases. To make it easier, like this. So we have the first phase of the boss contains 3 boss subphases. And I'm going to need to reference them over here as well. And this is the first phase. You see here there are some settings. Is game object active from start? So because this is the very first phase, I can't even disable this because it makes sense that the first phase is already activated, can be damaged, and it's shooting from start. So this is our first phase, and if you remember, I have referenced this one over here. If you notice, the effect spawner, suffix enemy, all must be added to the subphase. This boss phase is only a container, which you need to reference those in them. Once you just make one boss or see the existing ones, it's easy to pick up. I'm going to make another phase, phase 2, for example. Let me move it over here and let me give it another color so that we know which phase is this one. And because I've already duplicated it, so the boss is already referenced. The destroyed version, it's just once you add, once you reference another deactivated object over here, once this subphase is destroyed, it will enable this one. You can see an example of it in the Space Hero vertical level. Let me just reference the second phase. And to make it easier, I'm just going to rename thing. Let me call this, let me end this one with B. This one A. And let me just make one third phase, final phase. And just move it, give it a color yellow, and reference it as well. Okay, let me apply our changes. So what we have now here is a boss which contains 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and each phase has its own subphases. So in order for phase 1 to be considered destroyed, all of its subphases need to be destroyed. And now this might seem that you have a lot of options and it's confusing, but there is no other way I can do this. I took it to give you the options without having some level of complexity. So this is the first phase, and these are its subphases, and it's active from the start. Let's make this one not active from the start. If you see, I can't do this because I have to first deactivate its shooting from start, deactivate it can be damaged, then disable this one, the same here. So this means once this phase is destroyed, this one will be completely activated. Once this is destroyed, this one will be completely activated, and this boss will be destroyed. You have an option here called destroy only when all phases are destroyed. This is in the case, for example, if I enable can be damaged from start. This means that I could destroy, for example, this yellow phase and the boss will end. If I tick this one, then everything must be destroyed. If you forget anything, you can always see the tooltips or the documentation. Once you try it out, it makes sense. Let me hit apply. No, let's just make this one hidden to see the simple phase, the simple option first. So I think for some reason I'm not seeing the enemy. I know why. Because I didn't put any speed for the waypoint mover. Let's just give it a speed of 4. You know, these things sometimes happen, and it can be, you know, really hard to find them. But it's just simple things. So now we have our enemy, and just a reminder. Let me find the pooled adversaries. This is our boss. You see that this is the first phase, and these are not activated. Will be activated when this one is destroyed. Let me hit play. So the first phase have been destroyed. Now we have the second phase. Let's get rid of it. And the third one. And now officially that boss has been, as you see, deactivated, has been destroyed. Let's try something different. Let's make these active from the start, but they cannot be damaged from the start. So they are active, but they cannot be damaged. When I hit this one can't be damaged yet, this one can. And let's see what other options we can have. Let's make this one can be damaged from the start, because this is the final phase. When it's damaged from the start, if I damage it before those are destroyed, the boss will be destroyed. See, it's destroyed because of the final. But if I click this one, this means that it's only destroyed when everything has been destroyed. What else? Let me add its shooting from the start, for example, to show this option. But for that, I'll need to add a weapon. Let me add first a weapon to some of these phases. Let me maybe copy one of those. Let's take this one. Oops. Okay. just easy. I'm just going to create a new weapon already. Weapons, create enemy munition weapon. I'm just going to drag and drop and move it to its position. And I'll pick a bullet from the prefabs. Just let me drag and drop this bullet, you know, whatever, just a quick example. This is good enough. And as always, any bullets which needs to be fired needs to be listed over here. Without it being listed, it won't fire and it won't get to be pooled. Let me override and hit play. Now, of course, it's not firing because it's in the second stage. It started firing once the second stage has been activated. Another option I could, for example, say is shooting from start and activate it. So it's shooting from the start, although I cannot destroy it. So multiple options. One thing to perhaps, you know, to take attention to, I'm just going to disable this one for now. For example, imagine you have this phase in front of this one. I'm just going to hit apply. And let me, you see, maybe because it can be done. 1 second, I wanted to explain something. Is object active from the start? Okay. I just moved the sphere instead of the collider. My bad. Let me just move this one like this. And hit apply. I want to show a point that you probably, it might make you spend some. So you see over here, because the second stage is active but cannot be damaged, I cannot reach the stage before it. This is not a bug, it's just a behavior. But to go around it, if you want, because this is the agent has a lot of flexibility, you can always make this option. Is pass through when invincible. Let me activate it. And this means when you can't damage a phase or something, or it's invincible, it should be passed through. And that's it. I think I covered everything about the boss. Let's just make a destroyed version. Let me add one destroyed version for this. I'm going to, for example, just add a visual over here. Okay. If you hit Alt and on the arrow, everything will be collapsed. So it makes it easier. I'm going to put this one, for example, just very quickly over here, and let me just give it a different color so that, or I'll make it smaller or make a bunch of them. So imagine this to be a destroyed version or whatever. Let me just pull them like this. So this is the destroyed version that will appear when this one is destroyed. I'm going to disable it. And inside the first boss subphase, I'm going to link this one. I should be done. And it should work. So let's destroy that one. And the destroyed version appears. When everything is destroyed, it's destroyed. And that's the boss system. It may appear at first confusing, but actually I think I've put a lot of functionality that you can find useful. And if in any doubt, you can always go, for example, into the scenes, the Space Hero demo, the Space Vertical. Has a boss over here, which you can just see as an example. It has multiple stages with different settings. And inside the fighter jet, I believe, I have also another different type of boss over here, which you can see its different stages. And that's about the boss. I think I covered everything, and we'll move on. Thank you.